Hello there, and in this video, yes, Kitch is barely going to be able to contain his excitement because this is another car washing video. Now, I recently went to the NEC Classic Show. Fantastic day, a bit exhausting, but had a really good time. And whilst I was there, I popped over to the Angel Wax trade stand. Now, I have previously used their h2Go water, or rather rain repellent on the windscreen, and I've been pretty happy with it. It's one of the few products I've tried where I haven't had horrible judder on the wiper blades when I've used it. And like I say, because I quite like testing and trying things out, I thought I'd pick up 3 of their products from the trade stand to show you today. Now, quick disclaimer, or just to explain, I have actually paid for these with my own money. These, this isn't a sponsored placement or anything like that. I just quite like trying stuff, and this is a segment that I'm going to see if I can bring to the channel a little bit more often. Not least because I'm cleaning these things most weekends, although looking at the way that the XC60 looks at the moment, you would never guess it. It's still got most of Wales attached to it. So anyway, let me show you what it is that I've picked up. Okay, so here's the 3 products that I'm going to be trying out today. So we've got their Fastfoam, so that's basically their snow foam product. I quite enjoy messing around with snow foams. Obviously you put this on as a first stage, takes off the initial layer of dirt, and in theory should reduce the likelihood of causing any damage when you do your main wash. We've got some of their shampoo to try. Again, now I normally use Meguairs Gold Class is sort of my go-to. I like shampoos that have got quite a slick feel to them, so I'm curious to see how this compares to Gold Class. And then finally we've got their Revelation. Now this is a iron fallout remover, and I'm basically going to use this to clean the wheels because the wheels on this are in a pretty terrible state at the moment. If you're not familiar with these products, basically you spray them on, and as they work, they change colour and they dissolve any of the sort of iron and metal contamination that you get on your wheels. Unfortunately, they nearly always stink. I'm sure this one will do as well, but I'll give you a sort of an impression as we start using that. This is safe to use on both bodywork and wheels. So yeah, that's the 3 things that I am going to be trying out today. And I suppose the other thing I ought to do before I go any further is just show you what the current state of the XC60 is before I start. So you can see those wheels are very, very, very dirty. Like I say, it's not been washed since it came back from Wales. Incidentally, whilst it was in Wales, it was tested by Hubnut. I'll include a link to his road test there. It's quite a good video actually, so if you haven't seen that already, I recommend you go and watch it, but not until you've watched mine. Watch mine first, then go watch his. But yeah, like I say, it is definitely ready for a damn good clean. The fronts are usually the worst. Yeah, I mean, they're really, really dark and grim. And like you say, there's loads of filth and muck everywhere to get rid of. So yeah, should be a good test of the things that I am going to try today. Okay, so that's everything mixed up. Initial impressions are, it has got the shampoo does feel quite slick. It doesn't feel quite as slick as Meguairs though. I've got some Meguairs Gold Class in this bucket, which I'm going to do the wheels with. And just to feel, that does feel a little bit slicker than the Angel Wax does. I've got my snow foam gun made up and ready to go, and I've got a trigger spray ready to go on the wheels. Speaking of the wheels are going to be the first thing that we do. Now I apply this on the wheel dry, allow the product to work, and then jet wash it off to try and get sort of an initial layer off without doing too much contact cleaning. And now of course I've decided to do this. It's been dry for absolutely ages, and you might be able to see now that I've broken the car cleaning products out, it's started to rain, which is really helpful, but never mind, let's just crack on. Okay, let's give this stuff a go, see what it's like. Would help if I'd put the trigger spray on maybe. I'll just leave that to work for a few minutes and see how it does. Okay, so that's had a couple of minutes to sit on the wheel. I have been around and sprayed the others whilst that sort of little time-lapse sequence was running. Two things to note. One, it doesn't smell anywhere near as strong as the other product which I normally use, which is a Built Hamber. I think it's Built Hamber Auto Wheel is usually what I use. But the other thing I have noticed, to be honest with you, is there doesn't seem to be anywhere near as much colour reaction, which is a bit of a surprise. Like I say, normally when I spray the wheels with a Built Hamber, they really go bright purple, as if it's picking up quite a lot of material. So whether this is as effective as the Built Hamber, I'm not sure. I did say earlier on I was just going to pressure wash these directly, but actually I think I'm going to give them a little bit of an agitation first with my wheel brush before I go any further. Still got some remnants of the, I didn't wash these wheels after I had the tyres fitted, so they're still a bit, they've got tyre soap stuck in dirt now. Okay, I'll give everything a jet wash off now and see how it looks. Okay, that's not done a bad job actually. Even though the sort of like the initial colour pickup didn't look that impressive, it has taken away the usual sort of browning in these edges that I see. That's actually done not a half bad job. I'm not bothering doing the inside of the wheels, by the way. We are in November, there's just no point in that whatsoever, so as long as they look vaguely presentable, that will do the job. The other thing with these wheels is they are all ready for a refurb as well, so as they dry they look pretty grim. Anyway, I'm going to get around and do the rest. I might try let's just try jet washing one directly and just seeing what that comes up like. Okay, so this one's had a little bit longer to dwell. I'd say more like, I don't know, 5-6 minutes. We'll see how this comes off just with a direct jet wash. Okay, not too bad, but yeah, it definitely requires an agitation, which is true of most of these products that I try out anyway, to be honest with you. Right, I'm going to get the rest of the wheels cleaned up and then we'll crack on and we'll give the snow foam a go. Right, okay, so that's the wheels done, and yeah, it's not done a bad job really. Just bear in mind any brown areas you can see on these wheels, they are ready for a refurb. But yeah, compared to the Built Hamber product that I normally use, the wheels didn't certainly flash as purple as they normally did, or normally do rather. But yeah, I think overall not too bad. And one thing that I appreciate, and I'm sure my neighbours will appreciate, is that this doesn't smell anywhere near as bad as most of the iron fallout removers that I've tried. So yeah, not bad. I'm guessing because it's intended to be used on bodywork, it may not be quite as aggressive as the stuff that's a dedicated wheel product, which might be one of the reasons it's not flashed up quite as much as the other stuff that I normally use. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that, particularly as a product for, well, what I'll use it for is for cleaning wheels over the winter. I think it'll be more than good enough. So yeah, quite pleased with those. I'm going to see if this rain shower passes, which hopefully it will shortly, and then we'll crack on and we'll give the snow foam I've bought a try. Right, rain showers seem to have passed, so we'll give this snow foam a try and see what we think. Might take me a few goes to get the consistency accurate with the gun, because every time I swap products I seem to have problems. But we'll see how we do. Bane of my life! Come on, untwist, untwist, untwist. Just talk amongst yourselves. Oh, why is that twisted like that? Eh? What form of physics has caused that to occur? You will unravel, or there will be violence. Right, one more unravel. There we go. Right. We might finally be in a state where we can use this now. Right, let's see how it goes on. Traditionally, of course, when I start doing this, the wind picks up. It's just... I'm starting to wonder if my foam gun is giving up. Oh, I've not got my wheel things on today. Oh no, we've got collateral splashage, as well as a really annoying twist again. Yeah, it doesn't seem quite as thick as some of the other products that I've used, but I'm beginning to question whether my guns seen better days, because not much of the product just makes it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think it's my gun that's the problem. Now it's foaming up properly. Yeah, I think it does make a nice thick foam. Unfortunately, I think the mixer in my gun is failing. Looks like I'm getting ready for a new one of these. See if I can provoke it into... That's better. Yeah, that's the sort of consistency I was expecting to get, so I can call this a big fat fail. Yeah. And I'm blowing all over VEP now as well. Excellent. Told you the wind would pick up, didn't I? Worst product review ever. Yeah, I've had some problems recently with this gun. I've had it a very long time. I've had problems with it in the foam consistency, and I think, unfortunately, it is somewhat impacting the results of my testing. But you clearly can get a lovely thick foam out of it, but that's not what my gun is giving me, unfortunately. Well, I think quite annoyingly I'm going to have to call this one inconclusive. I was expecting a much thicker foam than I got, but I don't think that is necessarily down to this product, because if you look, it does occasionally foam up quite thick. So it looks like I may have a problem with my snow foam gun, which I did wonder about, because like I say, the mixer's been a little bit inconsistent, and as I was using it, very little product was coming out of the mixer bottle. It took a very long time to empty it out. But I think all we can do for now is we'll let this sit for a bit, see how much it picks up, and then we'll give the whole car a good jet wash down and see how things look. Yeah, look at the mess I've made. And Collateral splashage. Oh, cup of tea time, cup of tea time. I am ready for some hot brown. Ooh, biscuits. Ah, launching things at me. Biscuits. Oh. Pinch one of John Coupland's videos. You're watching snow foam drying live. 24/7 snow foam drying. Actually, we don't want the snow foam to dry, that would be bad. So yeah, I don't think that's the most satisfying snow foam I've ever used, but I don't think I can blame it on the product. I do think I've got a problem with my gun. So yeah, I'll have a bit more of this hot brown, and then I'm going to get all this rinsed off. Let's not rinse it off where it's going to splash into the cup of hot brown though. That would be bad. Ugh. Definitely at that age now where everything I pick up I groan. I went and had a sit in an MX-5 again recently, and I've definitely reached the age where it's probably not a good idea. Right, more annoying twists. Untwist! Untwist, damn you! There we go. What are you caught on? Everything. Okay, so that's the initial going over with the snow foam, and I've got to say it's done a pretty good job actually. It's pulled off the vast majority of the dirt when I've gone over it with the pressure washer stage, and yeah, despite my mediocre coverage, which I think I'm going to put down to being a problem with my gun and not a problem with the product, yeah, pretty pleased with that. Again, I think for a sort of a regular winter snow foam, you know, something you're going to be wanting to chuck on quite quickly and get off, this is quite a good product. One thing I have noticed that's a bit peculiar about it though is I've never seen a snow foam do this before when I've rinsed it off. You see how it's all sort of clumped up, which is a bit unusual. I've never seen it go like that before. So yeah, that's a bit strange how it's gone like that. Normally they just sit very smooth. This has almost gone almost like chunky, which is a bit strange. No idea if that's just specific to their product or not, but obviously just means it's going to take a little bit more time for it to wash away. Anyway, I'm rambling. Next phase, let's get you back on the tripod and we will give the shampoo a go. Okay, let's give this a go. Oh, that's quite nice. Smells lovely as well. It does feel nice and slick. Again, I'm not convinced it's quite as slick as Gold Class is, but it's very, very pleasant. Yeah, definitely got a good glide, nice foam. Oh yes. yes, I can definitely say there's not a lot wrong with this. It's picking up and removing the few bugs that I've got on there quite nicely as well. Yeah, I'd say that's rather slick and pleasant indeed. I suppose I better get the rest of the car done, really. So yeah, overall I would say that is a very, very pleasant car shampoo to use. Covers really nicely, don't seem to have any streaks, doesn't seem to dry out too quickly, although again, current weather situation might be skewing that slightly. But yeah, I think the last thing to do now, we'll get all this jetted off. I will get a layer of protection on it, and then we'll see what the final results look like. Pressure washer cam! Because this at all won't wind up in me tripping over my own feet. More pressure washer cam. Okay, so I think one area where I'm going to give this quite high marks is actually in product rinse off. Sometimes I use stuff and they seem to take forever to rinse off the bodywork. You'll keep hitting it with a pressure washer and still see foam, and then you might see streaks or stuff later. But this has come off lovely. It's again, I think a very, very good product, particularly for use in the winter where you've got sort of less time to work with. And you might not necessarily want to faff around as much. So yeah, overall I'm pretty impressed with that. Right, last bit, I'm going to get a layer of protection on this car, and then I might, if the weather permits, and the weather is looking dubious, well it does look blue over there, if the weather permits I might actually put a layer of Angel Wax h2Go on the windscreen as well, and just show you how that works. But first things first, let's get this bodywork protected. And this is the protectant I'm going to be using. I probably will do a separate video at some point about this Meguairs Hybrid Ceramic Wax. It's kind of been my go-to for quite some time now. Like I say, it's very easy to use, gets really nice results. You might have seen the XC60 wash video by now that had come out. But yeah, I just like it. I was exceptionally skeptical the very first time I tried it. But yeah, overall, although it's probably quite an expensive way of doing it, again, sort of thinking about this time of year, you don't really want to be messing around too much or spending ages sort of polishing paintwork and stuff. This can work quite well. The method I'm going to use today, because I've already put sort of a base layer of this on, is I'm just literally going to use the spray on jet wash off method. And literally all you do, and you do use more product than you perhaps might want to this way, but just get a good coverage all over the body panels whilst trying not to trip over your strategically placed hose pipe. As people, professional details, you're using too much. Yes, I probably am. That's fine. I buy this from Costco, it's not too expensive, thankfully. But the idea is, I mean, this stuff is, it's basically water activated, and that's the beauty of it. I've actually applied this before and had protection in the rain, which is fantastic. And again, for the time of year we're heading into, that is quite a handy thing to have, is sort of that ability to put a layer of protection on your paintwork without having to spend ages rubbing stuff in, which is why I quite like it. You know, obviously it doesn't get you net you the same sort of results as a proper, you know, hand polished wood, but you know, at the end of the day, we're talking early November. You know, they're about to start gritting the roads, and anything I can use that puts a layer of protection on the car quickly is definitely what I'm going to go for. You know, fewer daylight hours, more running around, etc., etc. And plus, although it's quite mild today, eventually it will get quite cold and miserable. So, yeah, all we do now is we jet it off. More jet wash cam. Would have been jet wash cam, but the trigger's stuck. Aha! Trigger is unstuck. Engage! The way I tend to do it, so I just mist it initially, just to get the product spread over the body panels. And then you can probably already see, look, how that's now beading up. There we go. So I have gone around it just a second time because, like I say, I haven't. What I found with this product is it does work quite well cumulatively over time. Sort of when I had this car before, I was doing it pretty much every other weekend, and I got a really sort of good base layer of protection down. So far, I'd only put one base coat down, so it wasn't kind of beading quite as much as I'd hoped on that first pass. I've just been around it again, and like I say, if I in exactly the same way I might add, but if you look at it now, you can really see that beading and that protection, and that's what you want basically. And like I say, for the sake of a couple of minutes, I think it's a fantastic way really of protecting your car's paint. And like I say, if you've ever seen me at a show with you know, with VEP or with the V70 or with this, when it's sort of occasionally lurking in the background, it's always been the sort of like the protectant and cleaner that I've used. So yeah, I very, very, very much like it. Anyway, I'm going to finish jetting the rest of this down, and then I'll give it a dry off and we'll see how things look. There we go, that's everything wiped down, and I think you'll agree. I mean, that's a cracking shine still, considering this is a 12-year-old 131,000 mile car, which I've not buffed it in the in sort of obviously owning it originally and then selling it to Sean and then having it back in that 4 years. I've not buffed it at all, so it still does come up really, really nice. I probably will give it a machine polish in the spring, but going into the winter, it's not worth it at this stage. I mean, it's going to get used all through the winter, it's going to get covered in crap, and it's just not worth messing about with on that front. But like I say, I mean, there's still a corking shine, and like I say, I really do like that Meguairs Hybrid Ceramic Wax. The Angel Wax products I was pretty pleased with overall, actually. I think out of everything I tried, I think the shampoo was probably my favourite. And like I say, although that wheel cleaner didn't turn as purple as some of the other stuff that I've used, like the built Hamber, I think the offset for that is that, you know, you do have way less horrible smell to deal with. So like I say, I think for using it over the winter, that's probably going to be ideal. But yeah, like I say, good shine, got it nice and clean. And like I say, at this time of year, for me, ease of application and getting products on and off quickly is really what's key, because, you know, if I'm outside and it's cold, I want to be able to get stuff on and off the car fairly quickly to keep it protected. But yeah, like I say, overall pretty happy with how that looks. I've still got to dress the trims and do a few other bits and pieces, and I'm going to do that sort of at the end of this video. I am going to stick some Angel Wax h2Go on the windscreen as well now, and then I will probably wrap things up. But yeah, something else to mention, I know I put a video out about whether or not this car was going to feature on the channel in terms of content. I'm probably not going to do much work on it myself, but I am going to do some buyer's guides and some things that you need to be aware of if you're considering purchasing one, because this is my daily. I really do just want to keep it mostly in the garage so that I'm working on things like this. Speaking of which, video about that to come shortly as well. But yeah, like I say, I mean, I think in the original intro video I did mention the rear brakes. I've actually had those done at a local garage, and ironically it was cheaper for them to buy the parts and fit them than it was for me to buy the parts myself. Go figure, that's strange, isn't it? And it's booked in, I think at the time of recording this, next week to have an auxiliary belt and tensioner done, as well as the freewheeling pulley on the alternator. And I'm going to do a video about that because it's a common problem with these P3 D5 diesels, and the first set of parts that I bought to do this job were quite frankly shocking, and I want to show you how bad they were. But yeah, like I say, let's get the Angel Wax h2Go on, let's get the trims dressed up, and then I'll summarise. So yeah, pretty straightforward product to apply. I'm going to stick a little bit of IPA on the windscreen first. I know it says panel white, but trust me, there is IPA in there. I'm just going to sort of take off anything that I might have left behind, and then we'll get it applied. But yeah, I just like to stick a bit of this on, do a little bit of an IPA white first, just in case I have left anything lingering. Noisy bloody thing. Just in case I've left anything lingering that might cause problems with it bonding. If it was a car I'd not seen for a while, I would probably also polish the windscreen just to get rid of any contaminants, but this stuff seems to go on quite well. So just get a layer of IPA over everything just to make sure I've not got anything lurking that I don't want. Now, one risk with this stuff is, I know I said earlier it doesn't make the wipers judder. However, I had Michelin wipers on last time, which were engineered a bit differently, and I've put these Bosch ones on, and to be honest with you, I don't like them. So they may wind up coming off if I experience any wiper judder today, which will be a trip to Costco. But I guess I will find out when I test them later. Alright, that should do for that. Now, as is always the case with these products, a little bit goes a long way, so yeah, don't overdo it when you apply it, because obviously if you do over apply it, you're just going to have a harder time removing it later. For the windscreen, I will be putting 2 applications on as well, just because obviously the windscreen is subject to friction from the wiper blades. I'm not quite tall enough for this windscreen. Okay, so I'm going to leave that to set now for 15 minutes. I'm going to go around and do the rest of the glass on the car, and then we'll pick back up when I'm ready to buff off the first layer. Okay, so that's had 15 minutes now just to cure. I tend to use 2 cloths at this stage. First one just to level it off and get the majority off, and then that one to buff it and to take away the remaining residual. But I do like the Angel Wax product because, like I say, compared to a lot of the ones that I've used, it just comes off really, really easily. A lot of them take forever to level, forever to remove, and I haven't had any problems with it sort of becoming really, really stuck. The downside is I don't think this is as durable as some of the other products that are out there, but because it's so easy to work with, I don't mind as much because I can just throw another coat on very, very quickly and easily. So let's use a completely clean cloth now just to take off any remaining excess. There you go, that is all buffed off. So I'm going to go around again, around the rest of the car. I think I'm going to give everything 2 coats because, like I say, coming into the winter, and I know that the weather is going to turn rubbish fairly shortly. So yeah, let's give it 2 coats and then I'll do a final summary for you. Right, okay, so that's all done. Second coat's been buffed off, all the trims are done. And yeah, it's looking 100% better. Now, before anybody says anything, yes, if you spy, no, I have not bothered dressing my wheel arches or frankly even bothering cleaning my mud flaps. And if you saw the road I sometimes have to go out of immediately to here, you'd understand why. It's currently covered in mud, and this will probably get covered in mud the first time I drive it to the garden centre, which is probably where it's going to wind up going tomorrow. But yeah, looking 100% more presentable. Yeah, much better. And like I say, still got a corking shine on it, really, given its age and mileage. It wasn't terribly clean when Ian tested it, unfortunately. So now you can see it in its slightly more the standard I usually have it in. In terms of the products I've tried today, he says with a crafty segue, yeah, I would be quite happy to recommend any of these, to be honest with you. Like I say, I quite like the shampoo. One of the things, I can't remember if I mentioned it, when I was rinsing the car off, I noticed very little residue. Didn't see any streaking or anything like that, which I do quite often get with the Meguairs. So yeah, quite like that. Again, the iron and fallout remover, I don't think it's as strong as the Built Hamber stuff that I've used previously, but the plus side is there's far less horrible smell. So again, I think I could recommend that to you. Certainly if you use a product like this on a fairly regular basis, you know, maybe as a wheel cleaner like I'm going to use this for. The Fastfoam, I'm going to say the results were inconclusive on, and I think that is more down to my gun than anything wrong with the product itself. So at some point I may do a quick retest on that. I think the next time I wash this car I'll revert back to my usual snow foam and see if I still see the same problems, but I suspect it's something to do with my gun rather than anything that's wrong with this product. But like I say, I think overall it was pretty good, and the dirt that was on the vehicle did jet off very easily afterwards, so I can still give that one a thumbs up. But like I say, I just didn't get that thick blanket of foam that I like to get when I'm doing a snow foam. So yeah, I'll revisit that one at some point. And then I'd already previously mentioned that I very much like h2Go. What I will do now, because I'm sure it's going to rain tomorrow, is I'll include a little clip of what that looks like in terms of the beading on the glass. Fingers crossed my wiper blades don't judder, but if they do, I think all I'll do is nip back to Costco and buy the Michelin blades. I think they're called Michelin Stealths. They're just constructed slightly differently, so there's less twist in the blade, and I find I don't get judder on those. But yeah, like I say, really like that product. Dead easy to put on, dead easy to buff off, and again, if you sort of get a few cumulative applications of that going as part of your regular wash schedule, you know, you'll have brilliant rain repellency in the winter, which is what you really want. One final thing to mention about that though is that using rain repellents aren't entirely without the downsides. So I've mentioned that wiper judder can be a problem, but the other thing is that you may experience sort of a, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it, like a light misting when your wipers sweep. I've found the best way to get around that is to make sure there is some heat in the windscreen first. So on a cold winter morning, you know, when it's not freezing, you may find that you'll run your wipers over and you'll have this sort of very fine sort of like yeah, smear over the glass. And the best way to get around that is just to make sure you've got some heat in the windscreen before you set off. So again, if you're thinking of using a product like this, it's just something to bear in mind, that can be an issue. I've never had a problem with it. I think if this car had a heated front windscreen, which you can get on later models of these, then it would be even less of a problem. But yeah, like I say, I'm quite happy to give all of these a thumbs up, and yeah, recommend any of them to you if you're considering giving them a go. Anyway, I think I'll wrap this one up for now. I've talked for nearly 4 minutes, rambling away. Thank you very much for watching. Please do consider subscribing before you go. Let me know what you thought about this video in the comments. Would you like to see more products tested? Is there something you've used or something you're considering that you'd like me to test? And I'll take a look at it. But otherwise, like I say, thank you for watching. Please do consider subscribing. I will get my words out in a minute. And I'll see you in another one. Cheerio.